I didn't figure it out for 6 months. 6 whole months of Tuesday nights watching Thaddeus drive 40 minutes to my apartment for poker, 40 minutes back home at midnight, sometimes later. We had a solid group. Me, Thaddeus, my buddy Marcus, and 2 guys from my gym. Good players, better company. The kind of night where you forget to check your phone. Thaddeus always brought the same thing. Craft beer from this brewery near his place, different variety every week. He'd set the six-pack down with this little flourish, like he was presenting evidence in court. He was a paralegal, worked for some corporate firm downtown. Sharp dresser, sharper mind. The kind of guy who could calculate pot odds while telling you about the documentary he watched last night. I'm Kevin, by the way. I run a small graphic design studio out of my apartment. Freelance life, you know. Flexible hours, which is why Tuesday nights worked so well for hosting. I'd push my desk against the wall, set up the folding table, get the chips ready. Same routine every week. Here's the thing I didn't know. There was another game. Closer to Thaddeus. Way closer. Like 10 minutes from his apartment closer. Marcus told me. We were grabbing coffee on a Saturday, and he mentioned running into Thaddeus at the grocery store on the north side of town. I said that was weird, Thaddeus lives south. Marcus looked at me funny. No, he definitely lived north. He'd dropped something off at Thaddeus's place once, remembered the neighborhood. I pulled out my phone, looked up the address Thaddeus had given me once when I needed to mail him something he'd left behind. Marcus was right. North side. 43 minutes from my place according to Google Maps. I'd assumed he lived close by, never thought to question it. That Tuesday, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Thaddeus showed up at 7:30, right on time, with a six-pack of some Belgian thing I couldn't pronounce. He was wearing this navy sweater that made his eyes look almost gray. He had nice eyes. I'd noticed before, but never really let myself notice, if that makes sense. We played. I lost focus, kept missing obvious plays. Thaddeus called me out on it around 9, folding a hand and leaning back in his chair. You okay, Kevin? You're playing like you've never seen cards before. I'm fine, I said. Just distracted. Work stuff? Something like that. I wanted to ask him. Why the drive? Why every week? But the table was full, the game was moving, and it felt like the wrong moment. Except every moment felt like the wrong moment. 2 weeks later, I was still thinking about it. I did something I'm not proud of. I Googled poker games in his area. Found one immediately. Tuesday night, 7 o'clock start, at a community center 15 minutes from his apartment, open to new players. Good stakes, regular crowd. He could have been going there. Should have been going there. It was closer, easier, probably started before he even had to leave work. But every Tuesday, his car pulled up outside my building at 7:30. I started noticing other things. The way he'd always sit in the same chair, the one to my left. How he'd catch my eye when someone told a bad joke, this little shared moment of amusement. The time Marcus couldn't make it, and Thaddeus texted me privately, asking if we were still playing, not asking the group, asking me. The beer thing, too. He'd started bringing varieties I'd mentioned liking. I'd said something weeks ago about preferring IPAs, and suddenly every six-pack leaned that direction. When I mentioned trying to cut back on alcohol, he showed up with fancy root beer, never made a thing of it. Just set it down with that same little flourish. I'm not oblivious. I mean, I am clearly, because it took me 6 months. But I'm not completely oblivious. I knew what it might mean. I just didn't know if I wanted it to mean that. I'd dated women mostly. One guy in college, but it was brief, awkward. We were both figuring things out. Since then, I'd sort of filed that part of myself under complicated and left it there. Easier that way. Cleaner. But Thaddeus driving 40 minutes every week wasn't clean. It was deliberate. It was a statement written in highway miles and gas money. 3 months in, I'd noticed he started staying later. We'd finish playing around 11, and everyone would pack up, but Thaddeus would linger. Help me clean up, stack the chairs, wash the glasses. We'd talk about nothing. Everything. He told me about growing up in Minnesota, how he'd moved here for a job and never left. I told him about my sister's wedding coming up, how I was dreading being the single one again. You're not seeing anyone? He asked, loading glasses into my dishwasher. No. You? No. He said it quickly, then focused very intently on arranging the glasses. I watched his hands, careful and precise. He had nice hands. I'd noticed that before too. One Tuesday in March, it snowed. Not a lot, but enough that the roads got slick. Marcus texted the group around 5. "I'm out. Too risky." The gym guys bailed too. It was just going to be me and Thaddeus. I texted him. "Looks like it's just us. Want to reschedule?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "I'm already on my way. Be there in 30. He showed up 45 minutes later, brushed snow off his jacket in my doorway. "Traffic was terrible," he said. "Probably should have stayed home." "Probably," I agreed, "but I'm glad I didn't." He said it simply, meeting my eyes. I felt something shift in my chest, like furniture being rearranged in a dark room. We didn't play poker. We sat on my couch with the beer he'd brought, talking. The conversation went places it had never gone at the poker table. He told me about coming out to his parents at 23, how his dad hadn't spoken to him for 2 years. I told him about my college boyfriend, how I'd convinced myself it was just experimentation, how I'd been convincing myself of that for a decade. The snow kept falling outside. My apartment got very quiet. Thaddeus was sitting close enough that I could smell his cologne, something subtle and woody. "Can I ask you something?" I said. "Anything." "Why do you drive 40 minutes every Tuesday?" He looked at his beer, smiled a little. "You know why. I want to hear you say it." He set the beer down on my coffee table, turned to face me fully. "Because you're here, Kevin. The game's fine. I like the guys, but you're here." My heart was doing something complicated. "There's a game 10 minutes from your place, Tuesday nights, same time. I know. You know? I've known the whole time. I'm on their mailing list. They send reminders every week. Then why—" He reached over, took my hand. His palm was warm, a little rough. "Because I don't want to play poker with them. I want to play poker with you. I want to drink beer with you. I want to help you clean up your kitchen and talk about nothing until midnight. I want to drive 40 minutes every Tuesday for the rest of my life, if that's what it takes." I couldn't breathe. "I'm scared," I said. "Me too. I don't know if I'm ready for this. That's okay. I'm patient. I've been driving 40 minutes every week. I can wait. What if I mess this up?" He squeezed my hand. "Then we'll figure it out. Together." I kissed him. Or he kissed me. I'm not sure who moved first. It didn't matter. His mouth was soft, hesitant, then certain. My whole body felt like it was remembering something it had forgotten, like coming home after a long time away. We pulled apart. He was smiling, really smiling, and I realized I'd never seen him smile like that before. "Not in 6 months of Tuesday nights, so," he said, "same time next week." I laughed. "You're still going to drive 40 minutes, if you'll have me? What if you just came over earlier, stayed later? How much later?" I kissed him again, "As late as you want." We didn't figure everything out that night. I still had questions, fears, a whole lifetime of convincing myself I was one thing when I might be another. But Thaddeus was patient. He'd been patient for 6 months, driving past the easier option every single week, choosing the longer road because it led to me. We still host poker on Tuesdays. The group's the same, the game's the same. But now Thaddeus shows up at 6 instead of 7:30. We cook dinner together, something simple, pasta or stir-fry. He still brings beer, still does that little flourish when he sets it down. Marcus figured it out first. Caught us being too comfortable with each other, the way Thaddeus's hand rested on my shoulder when he looked at my cards, the way I leaned into it without thinking. Marcus just grinned, shook his head. Shook. "About damn time," he said. The gym guys were cool about it. One of them mentioned his brother was gay, said he was happy for us. The other one just wanted to know if this meant the game was moving to Thaddeus's place. "It's bigger," he said. "Better parking." "No," Thaddeus said immediately, looking at me. "We're staying here. It's been 8 months since that snowy Tuesday. 8 months of figuring out what this is, what we are. Some days are easier than others. I still get nervous when we're out in public, still catch myself monitoring how close we stand. Thaddeus doesn't push. He just exists beside me, steady and sure, waiting for me to catch up. Last week, I drove to his place for the first time. He wanted to show me this hiking trail near his apartment, said we should go before it got too hot. His apartment was nice, smaller than mine, but tidy, full of books and plants. He had a photo of us on his fridge from Marcus's birthday party. We were laughing at something, standing close. I didn't remember anyone taking it. "You kept this," I said. He came up behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist. I keep everything that matters. We went hiking. It was hot anyway, but good. We talked about his job, my work, nothing important. At one point the trail opened up to this view. The whole city spread out below us. Thaddeus stopped, pulled out his phone. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Taking a picture. For my fridge." I smiled. "You're such a sap. You love it." He was right. I did. On the drive back, I thought about all those Tuesday nights, 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back, hours of his life spent on the highway, choosing the longer route, choosing me before I even knew I wanted to be chosen. "Hey," I said, "thank you." "For what?" "For driving 40 minutes every week, for being patient, for waiting." He reached over, laced his fingers through mine. "I'd wait 40 years if I had to, Kevin. You're worth every mile." I used to think love was supposed to be easy, that if it was right, it would feel simple, uncomplicated. But sitting in Thaddeus's car, our hands linked between the seats, I realized that wasn't true. Love was driving 40 minutes past the easier option. Love was showing up every week even when you didn't know if it would ever be more than poker and beer. Love was patience and persistence and choosing someone over and over until they were ready to choose you back. We still have poker nights, still play cards, still drink beer, still talk until late. But now when everyone leaves, Thaddeus stays. He sleeps in my bed, his body warm beside mine, his breathing steady in the dark. And every Tuesday morning when he leaves for work, I watch him walk to his car and think about all those drives, all those choices, all those miles. And I think about how lucky I am that he kept choosing the longer road, because it led him here. To me, to us. Next Tuesday, I'm going to ask him to move in. It's fast, maybe too fast, but it also feels like we've been building to this for longer than 8 months. Since that first Tuesday when he showed up with craft beer and sat in the chair to my left. Since every Tuesday after, when he could have gone somewhere closer but came here instead. I'm still scared sometimes, still figuring out who I am, what I want, how to be this version of myself. But Thaddeus makes it easier. He makes everything easier. Not because he solves my problems or answers my questions, but because he stays. He shows up. He drives 40 minutes or 4 minutes or 40 years, whatever it takes. That's love, I think. Not the easy route, the one worth taking, the one that leads you home.